Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, which means today is a live show. We're going to be talking about everything in the world of crypto. Why is crypto rallying today? Why are the markets so high? And will it continue? Also, we have some big stories involving the big, beautiful bill. That's going to be a part of why we're rallying. Also, FOMC stuff coming up for July. Will there be rate cuts or are we just locked into September? And third, we assumed that the ETFs we're all going to come out together. I'm talking about the altcoin ETFs, but Solana getting a little bit of a head start. We're going to cover all of that and a whole lot more in today's live stream. So there's a couple of things you got to do. Number one, watch all the way till the end and make sure if you enjoy the episode to smash that like button and make sure you are subscribed. But also leave your comments down below in the chat so we can engage with you and answer some of your questions today. All right, let's go. Welcome. You got three bros, all with distinct, different looks here today. You got Tshroom over here rocking the college football. We are months away. I cannot wait. Go Gator. Also go Hokies, more so than go Gator. We got Smay over here. First of all, he's got the Channing Tatum haircut. Looking fly. He's got a button-up shirt. Who do you think looks the most snazzy today? It's okay if you guys just all vote Smay. All right. I think I vote Smay. He's looking snazzy. He's looking fine. Did that translate into a golf game this weekend with you in the winners column, though, Smay?
But, Tim, you're getting real granular, okay? You're looking at this like a binary, like win or lose. I think it as, who showed a lot of heart and grit and determination and some of their best golf. It was Smay. Smay really was the MVP. Smay was the MVP to help my team keep up so much against insurmountable odds.
So we're dancing around the question. Did you bring home the dub?
We were a putt away. Okay, Tim, we were a putt away. We were a putt away, and that's just how it happens. And then just like the next day, there was the onset of food poisoning, so it just it was
pretty
the
sure the food poisoning
It was the foreshadowing. The body was preparing for it. That's what happened.
The body knew it was coming.
And that's what happened.
There we go. For those who didn't know, we had a company retreat here in Florida. Got to play some golf over the weekend. Got to do some planning for this next quarter. We're really excited about what we going to be doing over the next quarter and what we're doing with not only you guys here on YouTube, but also with our members over in the VIP trading group. But it was a lot of fun. All the guys were together, and hey, who knows? Maybe someday we all relocate to Tampa, and we have a hub, and maybe the members, the bros, can come visit us at the hub. Who knows? I have a fun fact for you guys that I don't know. Actually, I said it to Tshroom, so Tshroom probably knows that. Did you know today, Smay? You're usually the fun fact guy. I'm the fun fact guy today. Did you know that today, July 2nd, 2025, we are officially closer to the year 2050 than we are the year 2000.
Wow. And Tim, let me just say, the reason why I feel this really intimately is because another fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, I was born in the year 2000. So, in fact, I do feel closer to being the age 50 than I do being the age 0. So, yeah. That is the living proof of what you just said.
Fantastic. Man. No, it's a cool fact, Tim. It's a cool fact.
It's crazy. I mean, this doesn't affect Smay as much. For everyone else in chat, rank how old this makes you feel on a score of 1 to 10, knowing that you are now closer to your 2050 than you are to 2000. I still remember 2000 like it was about 25 years ago. All right, here, let's get into this stuff here. Smay, great to have you here. We'll let you know if you're going to come back in and make some comments. We got a lot to break into today in the news, in all the details. Really quickly, want to give a special shout out to one of our sponsors of our live shows, and that is a new partnership we have with Kinesis. Kinesis is an exchange that you do not want to be sleeping on. Not a lot of people know about it, but it is going to be taking America by storm. They did have some details last week with their website that were down. I do believe it's working once again, but if you're wondering why should you be looking at Kinesis, not only is this going to be one of the cheapest exchanges out there, if you want to save some money, save some fees buying your cryptocurrency, Kinesis is going to be a great option for you, but also you can hold, this is the only place you can buy digital gold, digital silver, diversify, and earn a yielding reward on it. That is absolutely amazing. Nowhere else can you do that. And by the way, all of your gold and silver you buy backed up by real gold and silver. Yes, that's right. If you buy 1,000 ounces of gold and then say, you know what? I don't want to own it digitally. Send me my real gold. They will send it in the mail right to you. Only place you can do that is Kinesis. Go check them out right now. Give them a call. Sign up. Let them know the bros sent you. I'm telling you right now, I'm working switching my stuff from Coinbase over to Kinesis just to save money on the fees alone, but also to own that digital gold and earn some reward. That's a pretty cool feature. Mr. C says, can you play that guitar? I can play that guitar. I'm not going to play that guitar in the show because we got a lot to talk about here today, but maybe, who knows, what likes would we have to get to for me to play that guitar, Smay? We'll bring you back up for a second. How many likes do you want to see to play a guitar?
750 likes.
750 likes while live, and I will grab that guitar and play a little ditty for you. Tshroom, we got a lot of news to jump into here. We got to get in before we jump into charts. So we're going to start off with a lot of stuff happening around a bill dubbed the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill. In the last couple of days, it did pass the Senate. It is heading back to Congress. What does this mean for crypto markets, for TradFi markets, and what all is going on that people need to be aware about at this point in time when it comes to the Big Beautiful Bill? Take it away, Tshroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll start off with what the headlines read. So House Ways and Means Chair Smith said this: the reconciliation bill will without a doubt pass the House by July 4th, according to Punchbowl. Now, earlier today, this was yesterday, the odds of it passing before the 6th was 76%. Okay, if we flash to that live prediction, it is now 59%. Okay, so still in the majority here, still the most likely. However, that has shed 18% of the bettors have actually taken the other side of that, and so that is not bullish for markets. Now, why? Because you might have had all kinds of news pointed at you, all kinds of messaging telling you that this is a bad bill. Politically, it couldn't be any more uninteresting to me, right? But what I care about is what the market thinks about this bill. What is the market going to do? Is it going to sell assets that it's holding, or is it going to buy more assets if this passes or doesn't pass? Well, so far the market has proven that it wants this bill to pass, and it has a lot to do with the extension of corporations' tax cuts for corporations. After all, corporations are what make up the New York Stock Exchange. So there's been a little bit of a tangle. Why has that percentage dropped? It's because of this representative here, Thomas Massey, says he has enough votes to block the one big beautiful bill, and the odds, as I just showed you, dropped by 18%. So Thomas Massey throwing a real wrench in the system here, making it very difficult for Vice President J.D. Vance and for Donald Trump to try to whip all of the representatives in the House to vote this bill through and get it over to Trump's desk. The final step here to get it signed into law. So, Tim, I want to throw this over to you and ask you, what ends up happening with this bill? Do you think it passes? Do you have any unique insights there? And what happens to the market if it does not pass?
Yeah, I think something's very important to understand, make sure people are aware of the process here. So the Congress here in the United States actually voted on this bill a month and some change ago, right? They passed it. It goes to the Senate. So some people are going to start to say, hey, shouldn't it just easily go back to the Congress? They approved it once. Yeah, there might have been some slight changes made in the Senate, but wouldn't they just vote yes once again? It's not really that simple. Even Tshroom and I were talking earlier, it's very common for Congress to say, hey, we're gonna get another swing at this. So let's just go ahead and pass it. We'll kind of learn more about the bill as the Senate is processing it, and then we'll get our real vote later on. What I don't know about Thomas Massey, I'll be honest with you. I know of Thomas Massey. I have not done a lot of research into who he is in detail. I don't assume he's a liar. Everything I've read about him would assume he's not a liar, but I don't know. I don't know when he says I have the votes to block it, Is he telling the truth? Is he trying to cause concern? Does he think he has the votes, but in reality, he doesn't? I mean, you got to imagine right now, Trump and his team are talking to members of Congress who are maybe sitting on the fence. Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, they're talking to people on their side. I'm talking about conservatives, right? Because ultimately the conservatives will make the ultimate decision. If they all vote together, bill will pass. There's not enough Democrats in Congress to really sway things one way or the other. The problem right now is a little bit of a civil war between the conservative party, the Republican Party, where some are extremely pro this bill. They're pro Donald Trump. They're going to say yes to anything he says. Others are kind of siding with Elon Musk's recent remarks that this big, beautiful bill is anything but beautiful, and that it would send the future of our country and our children into debt slavery. Ultimately, here's where we kind of are. Whether you agree with the bill or not, and I do believe people should have their opinions, I think you should vocalize your opinion. If you have some sort of influence in the world, use your influence for what you think is right. Do you agree with the bill? Do you not agree with the bill? Let us know even in the comments. Respect each other's opinions. If you want to have healthy debates, go for it. But vocalize your opinion. Here's the deal, though. I do believe the bill at this point is going to pass in some form or another, and I think it's kind of needed because as much as I actually agree that raising the debt ceiling is a risky proposition, and unless we really do some things well in the next couple of years, our children are going to reap the consequences of those decisions. The alternative might also be pretty scary. I mean, if you believe what they are saying, it's taxes would be increased dramatically. A lot of the things that Donald Trump ran on that a lot of Americans voted for, again, you got to remember, he was the first Republican president to win the popular vote in quite some time, meaning it wasn't just he won the electoral votes. The people of America made their voice heard. They wanted him and his policies. Well, some of those policies will get thrown out the window and will not become accomplished if this bill does not go through. So there is kind of a pros and cons to both sides. What I think is interesting, Tshroom, and we're going to get into some other things here in just a second, but even what you're looking at there with Polymarket. So Polymarket's still predicting heavily it's going to pass here very soon. July, I think the first option is July 1st or 7th, but it wasn't saying that they think it won't pass eventually. It just keeps delaying when people think it will pass. Can you give me a little more information about that and what that means for all the viewers out there? If this one doesn't pass, right, let's say that Massey is telling the truth. He gets the votes to say, no, we're not going to pass the big, beautiful bill at this time. Does it go back to the Senate for changing? Does it change within Congress? What does that system look like? Because again, it looks like the Polymarket just delays when the bill will pass, not if it will pass or not.
That's a good question, Tim, and that does get out of the scope of my knowledge. So I don't want to speak out of turn there and lead folks astray. My guess is that like this Congress will end at some point. I believe it's mid-August that the Congress will end, and then they'll go into recess, and then there won't be an opportunity to pass bills for a while. So there will need to be something that passes in between now and then. But my guess is that the importance of why it's going to pass now is because of those corporate tax cuts, right? In Donald Trump's first term, he passed corporate tax cuts that you may not understand what that means. It lowers the taxes on corporations, the amount of taxes that corporations owe the government in their year, in the fiscal year, is less, right? Every single constituency in the United States has an incentive to keep these tax cuts going, whether you have major corporations in that constituency or not, right? So by default, especially on the Republican side, these representatives want this bill to pass. They want those tax cuts to extend. And, the market wants that too. The stock market wants that as well, because if those tax extensions don't go through, then it cuts into corporate margins. And when earnings seasons come around for stocks, that is going to equal slimmer margins and price not go up. So Wall Street, Congress, they do everything they can to extend these tax cuts that were put in Trump's first term. So will it pass? I think it's almost a certainty at this point because of the political momentum and the importance of those tax cuts for corporations. But when it comes to the timing of it, I think that's where it's a little bit more slippery. But Scott Bessent, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and I believe the Ways and Means Committee chair of the House also all very confident it will pass by July 4th. So that's when I would expect it to pass.
And here's the deal. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, whether you like the bill or not like the bill, what you have to walk away from this episode, we're not really even here to tell you you should like it or dislike it. We're telling you if it passes, which again, as Tshroom saying, it's very likely it will. I'm going to show you some charts here in a second that kind of suggest it's going to pass as well. It will be very bullish for the markets. The markets absolutely are liking it. They're responding favorably to it. And so again, like the bill or dislike the bill, make money off the bill. Invest. This is the time to be investing in anticipation of it passing, with the money printer going brr, with institutions getting the green light to go invest in the markets. You want to make sure you're still heavily invested and you haven't run and taken profits and become a paper-handed person. Let's take a look at my chart here really quickly. I'm not even going to go in depth just yet. We're going to save it for the next story, which is probably the bigger reason why things are kind of rallying here right now. But even the stock market, like Tshroom, I would say the markets aren't even really reacting to the Massey story. The stock market, this is the S&P 500, it's at all-time high today. Once again, very small pullback. I mean, technically speaking, you're going to see a very minor little, upper shadow right there, a wick right there, which means technically at one point today we were a little higher than we are currently, but not a whole lot. This is an overwhelmingly very bullish day. The S&P 500, not just breaking new all-time highs, shattering through. A lot of people thought we were going to like double top, maybe kind of get tight right up here and then reject hard. The economy is still booming, despite some things we're going to talk about here in just a couple of minutes. On the flip side, Bitcoin doing some very big things. I'm going to go into more depth on this, but on the crypto front, we're going to go through some altcoins later on in the show that are doing very well today. But Bitcoin, not only is it up today back to levels we haven't seen since back in early June, it's also breaking a resistance level that we have been tracking. And if you were here last week, I wanted to tell people the truth, not scare people. There was something on the weekly chart that I said, listen, I am still bullish. I don't think this has to play out. But if this holds, if this indicator on the weekly chart holds, we could be in trouble, right? The key word there could be. I want to show you something that's happening right now with today's breakout that absolutely could close the door on that bearish scenario and could lead us to massive moves to the upside. But right now, both Bitcoin and the stock market, we are responding very positively to big, beautiful bill information. We're also responding positively about future thoughts when it comes to FOMC meetings and rate cuts. That's our next section. I want to kind of lead us into what is going on with Jerome Powell, what's going on with the Fed, when are rate cuts coming. There's a lot going on in the dynamics of this story that you need to know about. And ultimately, go off my screen here for a second, Smay. The reason why I want to set the table here correctly before we get into the information, we have told you since January. If you are waiting for altcoin season, if you're asking when will the altcoins go parabolic like they did back in early 2021, like they did back in early 2017, when will altcoin season start? We told you regulation is needed. We got that coming. Clarity on when we're going to get liquidity. When is the money printers going to be turned on? When is the Fed going to cut rates? This is something we've been monitoring since January, and it still holds to today. It's taken longer than I thought, but this is still probably the most important narrative in the discussion of when altcoin season will start. And for more on that, I'm going to throw it to Tshroom to break down all recent developments affecting future FOMCs. Tshroom, what do you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing to know is just the facts from the federalreserve.gov website. There are 4 rate decisions left in 2024. The most recent, the most important for today's trading price movement is July 30th. July 30th is when we'll have another amazing FOMC event where Jerome Powell will come out on the podium and say his magical words. That is July 30th. Okay. Then we have September, October, December. 4 more. There is more than 4 months left in this year, right? But there are only 4 decisions left in 2025. Very important. If you guys are just tuning in the Investing Bros for the first time ever, you just got the most important information there because you now know what the FOMC is and that it's important. Jerome Powell got a double whammy of very difficult news today. First was this: U.S. ADP non-farm employment miss for June boosts July cut odds to 21%, up 7% on Polymarket. This is not what you want to see if you are a partisan chairman of the Federal Reserve, because now you are starting to see those jobs numbers print in a scary way that make your dual mandate light up all over the dashboard. The number came in negative 33,000. The previous was 29,000, positive 29,000, I should say. and the expected was positive 99,000. Okay, so this was a massive miss. It's going to be difficult to ignore, and as a result, the cut rating for July increased. Now, it's still not at the majorities. You can see there on Polymarket. Maybe we'll get a fresh print because this was from this morning, but it moved up 7% just on this headline from the ADP, just on this print of data. Now, I want to hear what you think about this, Tim, but it doesn't stop there because Jerome Powell got even more bad news. This coming from the federal housing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac chairman, as he calls on Congress to investigate Jerome Powell. That's right. An official investigation has come from a government agency, and there's all kinds of details that we won't get into about some spending on a Federal Reserve building. That's what it looks like they're going to try to get him for. But ultimately, there's an investigation that has been presented to Congress, and it's up to Congress and the Senate to initiate that investigation. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the first official step towards removing Jerome Powell before his expiration date as chairman of the Federal Reserve in May of 2026. Tim, it's a bad day to be Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
What's going through your head today if you're Jerome? And just how do you think the markets will react to this in general?
Yeah, what has Jerome Powell been doing here recently? He's been not cutting rates, saying that while inflation's not out of control, it's not down to where he wants, even though it's trending in the right direction. And even though unemployment was slowly trending up, it really wasn't out of control. So he was saying, man, at this point, we don't have to worry about unemployment. I got to wait for data. It's like when it comes to unemployment, he wants to wait for data to confirm it's out of control before he makes any decisions. But when it comes to inflation, he's not willing to deal with the current data. He's afraid that bad data could come out in the future. So very inconsistent reasoning from Jerome Powell since, guess when? January. I think there was one weird decision in September of 2024, but for the most part, since mid-2022 into late 2024, I found myself more often than not saying, you know what, I think Jerome Powell is doing a good job with the reasons he's making decisions. He's trying to be careful. He's trying to make sure he's putting the best interests of the American people in front of, his personal interest. And it just got really fishy in September when, I could have almost kind of understood a 25 basis point cut in September of 2024, right? I could have understood it. I didn't think it was the right move necessarily because there were signs on the table inflation could get higher. But you know what? 25 basis points, that's one thing. He goes from doing no cuts to a full-fledged 50. It was very weird. And for a guy who was so data-driven for 2 years to say I'm looking forward to things, it didn't make sense to me. And he's done this all January through now, but the exact opposite. Like I said, he's not cut rates because of forward looking. And so this is going to look bad on him because people are going to say, Jerome, we have been telling you for months now that the unemployment, the part of your dual mandate you got to follow, keep inflation low and keep unemployment low. The unemployment has been the more vulnerable part of the dual mandate for months. And you keep looking at possible potential future bearishness when it comes to inflation. Your job is to handle your data and do your job. Okay. So that's where it's kind of starting off for me. Now, we've covered this for a long time period. Donald Trump makes comments like, I'm going to fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell pretty much is like, I'm not scared of Trump. He can't do that to me. That's not how this works. We've gone back and forth about what are the details, what that could look like. I put this forward into our VIP trading group chat today. I said, what are the odds that the White House is not over there talking to the housing committee, just talking to federal housing and telling them, hey, bring this forward. You got to give us some form of a precedence. If Donald Trump wants to fire Jerome Powell, he's going to need Congress, and they're going to need probable cause. If Jerome Powell's doing a good job, if he's being fair, even if he's doing questionable things, as long as he's not, doing anything precarious, there's no grounds to get rid of him. But when you have a committee like this coming forward and saying we are accusing him of political bias, we're accusing him of mismanagement of funds, we're accusing him of being detrimental to the American people, Congress investigate him. We're talking about a Republican Congress, which even if they disagree with Donald Trump on the big, beautiful bill, maybe half of them, I don't think it's quite even half, they're going to be on his side when it comes to Jerome Powell and the rate cuts. So while this is not a sure thing, Tshroom, you hit the nail right on the head. Jerome Powell, you gotta be questioning what your future looks like today. Number one, you made a terrible call holding off on rate cuts, and now there's going to be jobs lost because of that. Don't put those on Donald Trump. Put them on you, Jerome Powell. You had this whole time you could have been cutting rates. Now it looks like we're going to have a flurry of unemployment come unless something's done quickly. Number two, again, they just need a cause. This is the warrant just to get in the door, to get into the closets, to find out what's going on and have the easiest probable cause to remove Jerome Powell from his position. I would be very, very surprised if Donald Trump's administration is not somewhat behind this. And I don't think that's necessarily legal. I think it's just his way of getting things done the way he wants to get done. So this is going to be bullish. Right now, as Tshroom said, we're not seeing any predictions coming out that an emergency July cut could happen. But again, if things start to spiral here, and if we do start to see Congress looking into this, and it does look like Jerome Powell will be removed sooner rather than later, do not be surprised if those predictions for July cuts shoot up. We have, at this point, 28 days before that decision, a full month. A lot can change in a full month. Also, with unemployment coming out, let's just pretend Jerome Powell's safe in his job. If the unemployment numbers that just hit were bad and more numbers come out that are even worse over this month, we might see an emergency rate cut even from Jerome Powell himself. Either way, I think this story, this whole narrative, when it comes to both the unemployment and the potential investigation into Jerome Powell's decision-making, this is the big catalyst for the bullish rally today. The big, beautiful bill is a part of it, absolutely. But this is the big reason. This is the big thing here. All signs right now are pointing at not just one, not just two, at least 3 rate cuts this year. And as we covered last week, there's predictions that we could have as many as 7 in the year 2026. Liquidity is coming back. And I started this whole thing off by telling you, when is altcoin season going to hit? Altcoin season is going to hit when there's liquidity. Not because there's rate cuts that cause a recession. Guys, guess what? Rate cuts will not bring a recession. I'm not going to get into that whole thing today. A lot of people are going to say, Tim, historically, rate cuts bring recessions. We'll save that conversation for another day, another time. Maybe I'll have it with the VIP trading group tomorrow if they have questions about it. Liquidity, similar to what we had back in 2020 and 2021, rate cuts will bring liquidity, will bring an altcoin season. It will allow the institutions to go big into this new innovative asset class called cryptocurrency, real-world asset plays, layer one solutions that will build the roadways of future financial business operations. This is the time to, if you have dry powder, don't put it all in. Don't mortgage your house. We're not telling you to take crazy risks here, and I can't promise you returns, but I'm telling you, purchasing time, I can't think of a time period in the last 6 to 7 months that I would be more confident about buying cryptocurrency than right now, based on the news that we have coming out between the big, beautiful bill and between what we see going on in the future of the Fed. This is a time to be bullish, my friends. I hope there's not anyone out there trying to outthink this and they're running for the hills predicting some sort of a major recession. Tshroom, before we continue on, I actually have some charts on Bitcoin I want to take a look at this point, but any kind of thoughts, throwing it back over to you want to clarify about this story?
No, I think a lot of what the market is waiting on for the next leg up is just Washington. It's just movements in Washington. I mean, we saw, and they're moving well, right? The market is indicating by Bitcoin getting back up above 108, getting up above 109, and testing higher. You know, that folks who are taking risk ought to be rewarded, right? Because Washington is moving in the direction of rewarding risk takers rather than punishing them with lower prices. So, you know, and look, bros, we're still in technically quantitative tightening, right? We haven't really gotten out of that quite yet. What does that mean? You may not know or understand what that means. Quantitative easing is like the car going down the hill. It makes it very easy for risk assets prices to go up and to the right. We're still technically going up the hill with the Fed selling bonds, not buying them, and putting dollars back into the economy. it only gets easier from here in theory. Now there's always events that can come. We've had crazy, pandemics in the past. We've had spats between billionaires, Elon Musk and the president, right? That can bring the markets down. It doesn't mean that black swans and other bearish events can't happen. But if you understand anything about macroeconomics and this is a good time to be invested, right? You want to have your money in risk, not out of it. Obviously not financial advice, but those are my thoughts here.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of financial advice that we don't give, let's go look at some charts. All right, let's give some non-financial advice on the charts. By the way, everybody, if you are in here, smash that like button if you're enjoying the show so far. It's time to take a look at Bitcoin. Then we're going to get into some altcoin discussions here on the back half of the show, and then a couple of questions from the community, and we'll call it a wrap here today. I mentioned earlier Bitcoin breaking some pretty key resistance here on the daily chart. I want to just kind of show you some simple things that this could mean for Bitcoin. First of all, when it comes to Lux Algo, we have had kind of a back and forth action here on the daily chart. We are currently under a gray dot, but it looks like we're about to get a green one. And if that money flow starts to get back up here above 51, 52, that's going to be a very good look there on the daily chart. You are seeing some positivity already coming on lower time frames like the 4-hour. Which earlier today, some of our trading community made a good trade. I was a little hesitant to get in, didn't get in on this move, but we tracked a 4-hour buy signal and talked about moves up here towards 109,000, a little higher. And I was waiting for a little pullback, didn't get in. It's all right. Some of our community did. If you want to make money, check out that group. But the big news here is the breakout coming above this level resistance. I really want to see us get back above 110.6. Let's get a higher high officially. But breaking this resistance level is a major win for Bitcoin on the small end, right? And when I say small end, I mean the miniature end. This falling channel, the breakout prediction at this point, minimum, if this bull run continues, would put us up to 119, almost $120,000. We've talked about that level a lot. It's a Fibonacci level. We've been telling you, don't sleep on this level. If you go back here to the pullback we had back here in January through April, and you use a Fibonacci extension indicator package right here, you'll find the 1.272 was right here around 121,000. It's going to line up very similar with this breakout prediction of a falling channel. Going a little more bullish, though, let's say you set your eyes a little higher than that. The explosive move we had starting back in April, we did drop all the way back down to 74.4. It would cause what we'd call a bull flag pattern. All these indicators are key things you need to learn how to use. And if you're newer to technical analysis or you've been around and you want to learn it, this is one of the biggest assets of joining our VIP trading group is we have a whole group and a course structure. You can learn technical analysis for yourself. So you don't have to just trust my word for it. Learn the technical analysis yourself, apply it yourself, trade with yourself. This is all things that will be very beneficial to you. The bull flag pattern would predict almost to $150,000. And again, we're looking at a timeline of this prediction potentially even happening at the end or early in the fall of 2025. Speaking of other bullish things, before I show you last week's little scare on the weekly chart, I also want to make sure to bring to your attention an indicator we've been tracking for a while, and it's going to continue to cause you to be bullish when you look at it. It's called the global M2 money supply. This is the money supply of how the inflation of currency around the world is happening. And historically, Bitcoin, within a couple of days on a 90-day delay, follows this thing borderline perfectly. Look at the history of this. If you've never seen it, look at the history of when the blue line goes up, how similarly Bitcoin goes up. When the blue line comes down, how similarly Bitcoin comes down. And what we just saw happen today, not only is M2 flying once again, implying that we should continue to fly even into the fall, we're right on line. We're right on line with a time frame that the M2 money supply has been suggesting for us. It called for these miniature little pullbacks, right? It's actually, if you've been following M2, you would have been buying and selling Bitcoin over the last couple of months pretty much perfectly with pullbacks and rallies. Look at this. It predicted a little pullback right in this camp before a big explosion. If you're an M2 money supply fan, you're loving this chart. You're loving what you're seeing right here, and it's giving you a lot of confidence that we're about to have a much larger move coming for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. Let me go ahead and get rid of that indicator, and let's talk about the bigger thing that's bullish about Bitcoin. Let's get rid of some negativity that came in last week. Now, this negativity was my negativity, right? I'm going to cancel out some of my own negativity. I tell you guys all the time, I'm bullish long term, but I'm not going to lie to you, right? If you want a channel, if you want a technical analyst that just looks for the bullish things and ignores the bearish things, I'm sorry, we're not it, right? This is not the channel for you. We're going to address the problems. We're going to address the bulls. We're going to address the bears. We're going to address what the charts are saying. And last week, I noticed that we had a red reversal, a bearish gray dot, and negative money flow. Something that historically, if you go back to the last couple of times we had that level of sell signal, you would go back here to January of 2025. Do you guys remember what happened in January 2025? Bitcoin sold off, and it went back down towards where? The weekly smart trail. Okay, if I turn this back on, this blue line right here, that's the weekly smart trail. Okay, so the last couple of times we had this sell signal, January 2025. You go back before then, March of 2024. And remember what happened back in March 2024? Before that, it happened back in April of 2023. Not as big of a pullback. You can see right here, though, we pulled back to the smart trail. Before that, November 2021, May and April of 2021. These are all periods of time where Bitcoin had dramatic pullbacks, at least back down towards the smart trail, if not down below it. Why am I bringing this up? Because if this had closed last week, like we said it could have, that would have implied that Bitcoin could pull back down into the 80s. It's not something I relish saying. It's not like I was predicting it or saying, I hope this happens. It was saying, guys, we cannot ignore that there is another red reversal, bearish momentum dot, and negative money flow. Now, there's a green dot happening right now. I'm about to show you why that's so bullish, right? That could cancel out this bear signal. But it makes me go back, and some of you are going to say, but Tim, you told us last time, this is a very consistent indicator, very high likely indicator. There is one time in the last 5-6 years that this indicator does not go to the smart trail. You guys want to know when it was? You got to come all the way back here, all the way over here to this date right here back in September of 2020. Okay? Red reversal, bearish momentum, bearish divergence. If you zoom in here, negative money flow. Let me kind of zoom in right. You can see the money flow right here started curving to the downside. But what happened? Bitcoin's price did not pull back all the way to the smart trail. It had a pullback, but did not pull back to the smart trail. And then it erupted into the most explosive portion of the 2020 and 2021 bull market. We would explode from $10,000 pretty much unstoppably up to $66,000 before any major pullback whatsoever. Yes, there was a small one right in here in January, but again, it only lasted about 3 weeks before it rallied once again. Nothing major. Could we see a repeat of the same? Again, we have a sell signal confirmed, right? This wasn't a fake out, guys. This was a sell signal. Red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. Today, we are getting a green dot. If this weekly candle closes bullish, that green dot will confirm, and all of a sudden, you're getting some deja vu of September of 2020. And if you're a bull, that's good deja vu. That's what you're looking for. And you pair that with the M2 money supply. You pair that with recent indicators here that are bullish. You pair that with the news that's coming out on regulation and liquidations and what we have going ahead of us. All signs. I said this earlier. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to mortgage your house. I'm saying for me, for Tim Warren, today is the most confident day that I have experienced in the whole 2025 calendar year so far to date. It is the most bullish day I have seen to say, you know what? I feel like today's a good day to be buying cryptocurrency. I've been buying cryptocurrency a lot. Don't get me wrong. I've been buying a lot of dips, but each one of those dips comes with I'm going to buy here because we're down, but I'm not sure if this is the bottom or not. I'm not quite certain for sure. I mean, I'm going to buy on this dip, but there's still a lot of negativity around us. Today, there's a whole wave of reasons to be bullish in a way I haven't been bullish all 2025. And you guys know, if you've been watching me, I've been bullish. Today's simply the most bullish I have felt all year. And it's because of just the overwhelming magnitude of all the different bullish situations coming together. And that is just on the Bitcoin front. There's also some really good things happening when you take a look into the altcoins. We're going to take a look at a couple of coins charts in a couple of minutes. Drop I have a couple I want to look at. You guys let me know what are some coins you want me to look at in the altcoin space. While I'm waiting for you to kind of give me feedback on that, I want to throw it to Tshroom for some news about ETFs. This is a narrative that altcoin holders have been looking for. We have several ETF applications out there, but it seems like Solana. I saw someone comment Ondo, and then I blended it there. All right, we're going to look at Ondo. Solana seems to have a special advantage here. What's going on, Tshroom, with Solana's ETF?
Yeah, absolutely. It's making some real strides here. I'll pull this one up. The first Solana spot ETF, and this is a staking ETF, ticker SSK, is now officially live with approximately 9 million of volume traded in the first 30 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the era of spot crypto ETFs that are not Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's a pretty big day for crypto. And you know, it feels incremental. It feels like maybe it's not a huge crescendo, a huge climax. It feels a little anticlimactic, but here it is, and it is live. You can now go buy spot Ethereum ETFs in the United States. I should add. SSK is the ticker. Definitely not saying to go do that. Just saying that is available. I have full disclosure. I have not purchased this. It's just a moment to reflect on and to relish. Tim, is this going to be good for Solana?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's going to be good once liquidity comes in. I said this before, and I'll say it again. The ETFs themselves are just another on-off ramp. Think of it almost more like, hey, a brand new exchange that offers Solana just opened up. Okay, that's very cool. Now, what's special about the ETFs is there are going to be certain entities out there who would never buy cryptocurrency from an exchange like a Coinbase or a Binance or a Kraken, right? They don't trust these things. They want to go through a secure system that they're comfortable with because they're used to trading TradFi. They're used to trading stocks. So you're opening up Solana purchases to a whole new world of people, but just because I have the option to purchase, if there's not a good reason to purchase an asset, why would I purchase it? And we saw this full well happen with Ethereum ETF. For those who don't know, Ethereum had a spot ETF come out last summer in 2024, and everyone was so bullish. We're like, all right, here we go. Ethereum's going to take off to the upside. And then it dropped, and it kept dropping. And Ethereum had a very long and boring 2024 and even in 2025. It's just not impressed people. Because ETFs themselves aren't anything magical. It's just another way to purchase the asset. But when the reason comes, and I think the timing here for Solana and these other ETFs are going to be so important as they're coming out right before the key decisions are being made that will unlock the liquidity to buy them. It's a perfect timing for them to be very, very bullish. And when I go to the Solana chart here, let's take a look at it specifically. We did the other day run into a daily resistance level where, yes, we had a nice buy signal coming back in here with positive money flow and green momentum. I think you can even chase here. We had bullish divergence, which would have counted as our bullish reversal pattern, right? So higher lows in our oscillators, lower lows in the price action. There's your reversal in our positivity. But that only takes you up towards the daily smart trail. And we started 2 days ago, a nice little reversal pattern, had a nice bearish day yesterday on the 1st of July. And today we're looking to already get rid of all of the negativity that happened yesterday. So it's going to be very important to monitor. We need to see Solana get back above 160. When we get back above 160, all of a sudden, the potential for it to just explode back up closer towards 200 becomes increasingly likely. If you start to track some other things as well, you're going to start to measure some patterns here. You really could kind of redraw this trend line right here. This is going to be actually extremely bullish. I need to redraw this. We had a falling wedge months ago. I need to adjust here. We had a very clear descending channel, just like Bitcoin. Look what the last week has done. Bullish breakout. Yesterday came back down, touched a level that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on this resistance. We now have turned this former resistance level into support. So that's a very positive sign right there. Let's get the bullish momentum going. Let's regroup on the weekly chart and start getting, again, a weekly green dot coming in here once again. Let's get the money flow positive. And all of a sudden, like I just said, 200, 250, that becomes the target we're looking at in the next couple of weeks, in like summertime pretty much. Like mid to late summer, do not be surprised to see Solana easily back up into the mid 200 levels. I think I made a video weeks ago. I still believe we could be pushing by end of summer closer towards I think I put 373. We got to make some moves, get there, but I think we could be over 300 still by end of summer when it comes to Solana. And with them getting a little bit of a head start here, access to, a whole new audience that potentially wants to get in on one of the hottest layer one solutions in Solana, this is going to be a major win for them. The charts are looking good. The news is looking good. And again, they have the advantage with the first crypto ETF of this year. So like what I'm seeing right there, let's just get a couple things to confirm all that bullishness. But again, a lot of good things happening there. Let me read some chat here as we look at some other ones. I guess people did vote on other coins they want to see. It looks like ONDO is a very big one. Solana, as I called it earlier, did win the vote. Someone said, let's see here. Ryan said, I love the M2 indicator. I learned about it from you, Tim. Thanks. Good. Very glad we were able to teach that. It's a very helpful tool. Shundo. Yeah. Shalando. My bad. Where is Gareth Soliday? I actually was on a show with Gareth Soloway is who you are referring to. I like Gareth. Again, do I agree with him on everything? Absolutely not. It was actually funny. I was asked by Paul Barron to do the show with Gareth Soloway a month ago. And I was told that he was he was super bearish. So I went into the show today preparing to kind of have a debate with Gareth Soloway, which is a surreal moment because, you guys got to remember, I've only been doing TA now for about 4 years. So I'm not necessarily, I'm not this 30-year expert. Gareth Soloway's been doing it for a long time. In my time period of learning technical analysis, Gareth Soloway is one of the people that I learned a whole lot about how to read charts, how to analyze things, and look for different tendencies. And so I look up to Gareth in many ways. Does not mean I always agree with him. And I was under the impression I was going to have a lot of things I disagree with him on the show. And it turns out, I think at the moment, he's actually pretty short-term bullish at the moment. There are some differences. I encourage you after this live show, go check out Paul Barron's episode from today. It's me and Gareth kind of going back and forth on issues, looking at different charts, analyzing different things we see. But no, I mean, anyone thinks he's bearish. He's not as bullish as I am by any means, but I was actually surprised. He's bullish right now. Definitely in the short term on the cryptocurrency market. So it was interesting to hear that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at ONDO. That was an overwhelming favorite that people wanted to check out here. And I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of these lines we had from a couple weeks ago that did get invalidated. I've talked a while ago, though. I do want to see ONDO get back up here above 124. There's not really an easy way to pick which one of these is the lower high I want to get over. In fact, actually, I think I had this drawn before this move. So now it actually be closer to 113. ONDO needs to get back above 113 to reclaim higher highs and higher lows. You do have a little bit of a streak that we are not breaking above right now, right? So when Bitcoin and Solana have both broken these lower high resistance levels, ONDO is still working on it. When it comes to some other things here, you are going to notice that ONDO does have a nice little support shelf kind of in this camp right here. And some people are going to say, Tim, is this not a descending triangle? It could be. I think this is more of just a very strong level of support down here towards 60 cents, more so than the support level is descending triangle. But I would be aware of it. If we lose it, that'd be a very negative thing for the ONDO coin. But once again, fundamentally, I love this project. I think that ONDO is going to be one of the bright stars of the bull market once the liquidity starts coming in, once we start having a lot of success from institutions. ONDO is one to absolutely watch, but we do need to get above this red. Let's turn this red because I like red for resistance. We do need to get above this descending level of resistance. I do want to see a higher high for the first time since December of 24. Let's get back above 114 and then keep working to the upside here. Let's check out what the charts are saying here. Did get a little gray dot here yesterday, but we're already looking at potentially invalidating that with today going higher than we were the last couple of days. What about that weekly chart? Is that weekly chart giving us something similar? Yeah, the weekly chart giving us a little green dot here as well. So very positive there. I wouldn't call it as positive looking as the Solana or Bitcoin chart, but it is something to monitor. What about the 4-hour chart here? Yeah, clear buy signal on the 4-hour chart with targets. I mean, I don't think we've hit these targets just yet. I think we could keep going up here into the 80-cent range, but just keep your eyes around 86 cents. There is going to be resistance around 86 cents. Can we break it? It's going to be the key. We're going to need some high volume to come in. We're going to need the bulls to come in and buy it up. But we have some potential catalysts that absolutely could make that possible here for ONDO. Some other things that I have not looked at with the others, but let's just take a look from a more macro perspective here when it comes to liquidations. We have all but cleared every major long-term liquidation to the downside. Now you're going to, oh, there's a little bit still down here. It's around 59 cents. But the brightest on here is going to be back up here. Guess where? Back up around those highs we just talked about. It's going to be in the world of 106, but if we can clear those, we're going to get above that 113. And don't be surprised right now with that being the brightest spot on the chart. As the bulls start to make some moves, that target's going to become very, very enticing for those market manipulators who, again, have come out and taken out the majority of liquidity to the downside. Again, there is a big bunch down here as low as 55 cents, but right now, I think it'd be very hard to push ONDO back down there. I'm putting my eyes to the upside. I'm watching that 107 zone and saying it looks very, very interesting for ONDO. Someone said, what about Cardano? Cardano up 9.3% today. Let's take a look at what's going on here and kind of clear up some things on its chart. We had a descending channel. We had a breakout back here, but we've been kind of trailing back down below. You kind of could almost make a case and an argument for Cardano to really have more of a resistance level here. You could kind of, when it comes to this, you kind of have the same thing going on here with a shelf. Look at how many times Cardano bounced right here in this camp. Let me drop it just a hair. Right in this camp around 50 cents. 50 cents held up very well for Cardano. If you go back historically, it was resistance in the past as well. But right now, I would say Cardano, kind of similar boat to ONDO, very, very good to see a big bounce up here. ONDO bulls are buying here today. But you got a long way to go here on Cardano before you're breaking any major resistance. You got a ways to go before you're setting a new higher high once again. Again, back here, track back to December, lower high, double top, but it was more of a hype thing here in March when there was a tweet that went out from the president that was kind of misunderstood about what his thoughts on Cardano were. Then lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? Let's get back above 86 cents. Then all of a sudden Cardano is cooking and we can start talking about moves to much larger levels. Again, we go out to that weekly chart and you're looking up here and you're saying, we're looking at $1 at least, I think, by end of summer. I think realistically, I wouldn't be surprised to see us back up in the world of 150 by end of summer. Not scratching new all-time highs yet. I think new all-time highs for Cardano come later in the year, 2025. I do think we're still on track. If the bull market happens, if the altcoin season happens, don't be surprised to see above $3 for Cardano by end of year. But if we're going to talk about just the summer for right now, I'm looking at some resistance levels between $1 and $1.50 as being very intriguing. This level now is kind of done. We no longer have that formation in play to cause that breakout. But I still like Cardano. Again, we're on track here to get a weekly buy signal, actually, with looks like positive money flow coming in. We already have the reversal. We are slow, but we're working on a green dot on the weekly chart that would give us a green trifecta of a buy signal for the weekly Cardano chart. Tie that in with everything else that's bullish. Guess what? Cardano is one of those coins that has a more than 90% probability of their ETF being passed very, very soon. In the last 6 months, I've seen Cardano go from being a coin that I was saying, our institution is going to be invested in this coin. I don't know if they really care. I think institutions absolutely. Ones that care about security and privatization, they're absolutely going to love Cardano, right? I'm not saying it's going to become better than Solana or Ethereum. I'm not making that prediction. But if you are sleeping on Cardano saying institutions don't care about Cardano, you're wrong. They will. ADA ETF is incoming. You are absolutely right, Matt Shank. 100%. Guys, I'm going to take a break from Altcoin TA. We do Altcoin TA every single day, though, in our VIP trading group. So if you guys want to see more of my technical analysis, we have other pro traders in there. That's what's so cool about our group. It's not just me. It's not just like once a week. It's not like, I'm going live twice a day privately with our VIP trading group. I have 3 other pro traders in there. They're going live with things. I got Crux over here dropping gems. I mean, if you're a degen person and you like finding little known coins that no one knows about, Crux is a degen fiend, right? I don't know how he's finding these things. He has a great return on his investment. There are so many reasons to join that VIP trading group. You get news every single day from Tshroom, charts every single day with me and several of our pro traders, and then you also get gem watch list. I don't think, I really think that we try our best to be humble. We don't try to like promise any results or anything, but let me know in chat, those who have joined multiple groups, is there another private group out there doing more than the Investing Bros community? If there is, great for them, because they are kicking their butts daily. We are grinding every single day. We are prioritizing our group. If you want to learn more about how to trade, how to read crypto, how to know when to get in, when to get out, and just overall prepare yourself for financial gains, not another group out there, in my personal opinion, that does it better than the bros. And I don't even think I'm being biased there. So Willis says there'll be a 4th of July sale. Tshroom, we haven't talked about a 4th of July sale. Should we have a freedom sale on the 4th of July for people?
I think it's a pretty good idea.
It's a good idea.
I think it could
Let us
work.
think on it. Williest. So here we go. Don't sign up for the next couple of days. I want you guys to save money, right? I don't know what the deal's going to look like. We did have a deal a couple weeks ago. We're not going to match that deal. So everyone got in back then. They got in good. We'll talk about a deal. We'll talk about a deal for Friday. You guys can get into the VIP trading group. I think that's a good suggestion, Williest. Smash the like button if you guys like deals.
Might I suggest?
All right.
I'm just throwing this out there. This is everyone. Don't commit to that. Don't commit to this. No one else will come. What if we made it 17.76% off?
1776.
Is that even doable within what? We'd have to find out if the WAP.
Find out. We'll round up.
You do a
18%.
Like
but we'll advertise it 17 points. Because 1776. Come on. All right. Yeah. Anyways, goodbye.
His name is
all
Alexander
right, guys.
Hamilton.
Sutton said, Tim, you are absolutely phenomenal. Most informative channel out there. Thanks, Tim. Thank you so much for that, Sutton. That is my goal to be that way.
I've got something to share with the bros that they're going to be very, very excited about if they are fans of Sui or Say. Smay, if you go to my screen here, if you just stick on this video, when this live stream ends, YouTube will automatically push you into Crux's new video from Alpha Bros, Say versus Sui. There is a lot of alpha on this, and it's no mystery because it's on Alpha Bros, a channel that you should be subscribed to if you are interested in investing in crypto. I know that I never miss a video over there on Alpha Bros. Crux has set it up to where you don't even have to push a button. Just stay on this live stream. When it's over, you'll be directed right over to Alpha Bros and educated on Say versus Sui. I am Team Sui. I like Sui. I've got my Sui bags locked and loaded. And I'm interested to see what this Say is all about. So, Tim, you going to watch this video when it comes out?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I think what we're going to do is, what is today? Wednesday? Either Friday is going to be fun. Either tomorrow or Monday, I think we're going to do a chart version of it as well. But I'm not going to say my opinion because I want to say that for the video. But I'll tell you guys, go over there into that one, comment. Are you a Say fan? Are you a Sui fan? The good news is you can do both, right? This is the world of crypto. You can invest in both Sui and Say. But if you had to only choose one, which one you invest in? Don't even comment here. Go over, watch the video on Alpha Bros, comment in the live chat, comment down below. Just so you guys know, love your engagement, love your thoughts. There's a couple things your engagement does for us. And when I say us, I'm talking about us and Alpha Bros, obviously, our brother channel. Number one, we love your feedback, right? We pride ourselves on, we're going to tell you guys what you need to know. We're going to prioritize what you need to know of what you want to know, right? So we're not going to make up things just to make you happy, but it does help us to know what you want to know about, right? And if you're like, tell me more about Sui, and I look up Sui and I'm like, oh, this coin sucks, which that's a terrible example. Sui's awesome. But we want to know, what do you want to learn about? What do you want to be educated on? What do you want our opinion on? And I'm not going to promise you you'll like my opinion, but I would love to give you guys content you guys want to know about. So make sure you comment, just to give us feedback on what kind of videos and content you want. Number two, it helps us in the algorithm. And if you guys don't know, the algorithm has been a little bit of a train wreck for us in terms of, I don't know what YouTube, we love YouTube. We're very glad to have a platform, but sometimes they don't seem to love us very much. And I'm not going to get into too much details here. We just need every bro supporter, the best of your ability. Smash the like button, recommend us to your friends and family, comment on every piece of content you see us put out. Tell YouTube that you appreciate the information we're giving you guys and be engaged with it in more ways than one. But yeah, go check out Alpha Bros. It'll be launching literally in 1 minute. Stick around. We'll literally just redirect you from here into that Retro Beast says, Tim, when are we getting some more portfolio review videos? Love those on a Saturday. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. We're going to wrap the video up here in a second. I will definitely be doing some portfolio things. Unfortunately, we do have to end portfolio reviews on YouTube, at least for right now. I'll tell you what happened. So YouTube, I think there's an AI thing going on. There's a couple channels this affected. We had a couple videos flagged that said we were giving harmful content, and they demonetized our channel. Now, we can still promote content. We can still do things, but it's you don't want that. Like, you put the channel in jeopardy. We're pretty sure an AI misread some of our videos, thinking we're giving people financial advice, promising financial returns, which you guys know we don't. We do analysis. I give you my personal opinion. It's up to you whether you take it or not. But the AI couldn't read it, right? But the most dangerous thing in the world that we can do on YouTube is for me to look at your portfolio, tell you how I would change it, and then tell you what I think it could be worth. I don't trust that an AI wouldn't look at that and be like, oh, he's promising them that they're going to make this much money. So for now, we can't do those anymore. Now, if you're in our VIP trading group and you come over and say, Tim, what do you think of my portfolio? Crux, what do you think of my portfolio? We do portfolio reviews all the time in our VIP trading group. But unfortunately, I think the days of reviewing public, at least for now, maybe in the future it comes back when YouTube kind of gets off our back, but we can't do public portfolio reviews anymore for right now. That being said, I am kind of working my brains around a new creative method to do portfolio updates. So as long as I'm not talking about other people's stuff and I'm kind of just tracking my own and not really talking too much about what it could be worth in the future, I don't want to piss the AI robots off out there. There will be content like that I think you guys will still find extremely helpful. But that is where we are. And again, that's why that story right there is why we need you guys commenting and chatting and engaging with us, letting not just us know you love what we're doing, but also letting YouTube know that you really value what we're doing and you don't want to see our channel with a strike or any type of punishment whatsoever. We need your help there. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's show. Go check out that Say versus Sui video on the Alpha Bros channel. We will see you, on the videos daily. We'll see you next week live. Come join the VIP trading group when you get in there. I'll see you daily over there as well. Shout out to you guys. Love you. Adios.